Sounds good. All right, let's rock and roll. So, folks, welcome to another Man Up video. Like Dan texted me earlier this week, I don't think we actually need to introduce ourselves, but I feel like that's something an A-lister would say. So anyway, it's Dan and Jordan on Man Up. So huge welcome. Obviously, every Thursday we're talking to another bunch of blokes about mental health and how they're doing, and how are people coping. And on this one, we've even got little people running around and cats joining us, courtesy of James. So should we kick off with just how's everyone doing? James, how you been coping? How's things been?
Not bad, I'll be honest. I'm kind of juggling a little bit of house husbanding, a little bit of working, a little bit of homeschooling with a 5-year-old. So juggling a lot of different things, and it's stressful. I think the main thing has been kind of coping with the amount of work that school are putting across for kids to do at home. He's only 5, so it's not tons, but trying to make sure he does a good mix of that, as well as having fun and going out and playing in the snow, and also coping with keeping the house going whilst my other half's at work, and my work as well, as and when I've got it. But on the whole, I think I'm all right. Thank you.
Dan, I don't want to take your thunder.
No, go on.
I just said, James, you're an EMT as well, or sort of semi-retired, right?
Yeah, so I was with the ambulance service, well, continuing now for about 20 years, my 20th year with the ambulance service. I came off the front line a few years ago due to my back, and since then I've kind of remained on the bank, so I do shifts as and when front line. But my most common role at the moment is teaching, delivering training to nursing students and paramedic students in lots of different kind of healthcare subjects.
Busy then.
Yeah, it can be. I had busy January, very quiet February. That's just the way it goes with the universities. But so we kind of carried on delivering a lot of training through COVID, through the restrictions, with all the kind of the PPE, and just purely because we needed to get the nursing students and the paramedic students through their training, so they could go out on placement and actually kind of help out at the sharp end, if you like. A lot of work with those guys, but really enjoyed it.
So are you seeing much? So you're getting the newbie nurses and whatever else who are being, I don't want to say rushed through, but I think a lot of them have been rushed through because they're needed so much, aren't they?
Yeah, what happened because of the first lockdown last year is a lot of the universities suspended face-to-face teaching. So we had kind of a lot of cohorts backed up with their essential clinical training, their clinical skills. So until they've had that, they can't go out and do placements. And obviously, when they're doing placements, they're very useful to have around on the wards to practice their skills and do kind of nursing stuff. But until they've done their essential bits and pieces, they just can't do it. So they're frustrated as well. So they're kind of either back home or living in their halls of residence, twiddling their thumbs and going a bit stir crazy. We had this massive backlog, so we were just delivering course after course after course, getting these guys through what we could so they could go out and start doing placement.
Do you think they're scared? First job potentially dealing with a deadly virus?
From talking to them, no, I don't really think they are. I mean, I was up in Nottingham. I don't know if you remember Nottingham last year. It was kind of like one of the big epicentres, one of the early growth centres for having massive numbers of ventilated patients with COVID, and they were remarkably kind of resilient about it. They were kind of fairly, okay, well, let's just get on and do it. It's part and parcel of the role. I think they probably felt more at risk in like the uni environment than actually on the ward environment, because I think on the wards, they're very, very much geared up with the PPE and their kind of the infection control practices, that they were quite keen just to get on with it and get stuck in. So I didn't really see any fear at all from them, just frustration more than anything else about not being able to do it.
That's incredible, man. So it's like we did that video the other day, yesterday, with the doctor. It's just like the medical people. They're just, we're all like machines. So I salute you get out there to care for the community. And I can't work out whether you ride up right or ride up totally wrong. And because you just put yourselves out there. So well done to you. So
I think it's a bit of both. We just get on and do it. And I don't know why it is. I think most of us initially, when it all started happening, had a healthy amount of respect and fear for it. But I think once we've kind of got into the routine of it, we've seen it for what it is, and I think we can manage the risk as much as we can, and kind of just be realistic about it, that yeah, it is catching some of our colleagues. It has taken some of our colleagues from us, which is obviously desperately tragic. But it's still a very, very small percentage, and we've still got to go out and do the job.
No,
At the end of the day.
I salute you, mate. So well done to you and your colleagues as well. Absolutely. So let's move on. Daniel, is it Dan or Daniel?
Call me whatever you like, my man. I don't mind.
No, that's cool. So you're a bit of a strange one. I mean that in a nice and lovely way, because you set up the what's your page? The Ipswich Bog Roll Society.
No, Ipswich Anti-Loo Roll Brigade.
That's one. That's like the best name going. But why have you set? Why did you do that? Why have you bothered?
My background, just so you know a little bit about me, I've always been involved in some way or form in community engagement work. I love supporting my community and ensuring that opportunities are reachable and that there is accessibility there. One of the things that I realised at the start of the pandemic was how much we depended on communication, and we weren't seeing that. And obviously social media is such a big platform and such a helpful platform in connecting a wide community of people together. So yeah, we did that. And it was through following an initiative from Colchester, Peter Dutch, that set up the first page, and we followed him and we created a page for Ipswich. And yeah, it's been amazing seeing the growth and the level that it's created over the space of the months that we've been around. We were around from the very beginning of the pandemic and was seen as this base for people to come to get the support they need, really.
Yeah. Jordan, sorry, we've seen the swatch roll, so I do apologise.
Yeah, we can. I mean, Daniel, I hate saying Daniel, but Dan.
Whatever you want to call me.
How important do you think community has been for folks who perhaps didn't maybe put that at the forefront of their mind previously?
I think is a big support base, really, because community is really important, and particularly during a time like this. Like, what I've been seeing is people that had no idea at the level of support that is being offered and how much is actually being given out there, because they are so busy, and there's autonomous features in our life, you know, like we keep on and we work. And my role previously was based in education and mental health. I had to come away from that due to my own health and made changes so I was able to work from home. And I realised how much I actually depended on being online and being connected to people and making sure that I still had that communication there. So I wanted to reflect that and do that for other people, particularly those that are at risk of being completely by themselves and isolated.
And that's a sad thing, that there is a lot of people who are being isolated, not necessarily for health conditions, but for physical health, but also for mental health conditions as well. It's we're living in scary times. So yet again to you as well, I salute for what you've done, and you've got like 10,000 members now, isn't it?
Yeah, 10,548 members, I believe. But yeah, it's incredible.
Not counting,
Not counting, no. I've got like behind me counting like tick tick. But yeah, it's amazing, and I'm really impressed with what the group has managed to achieve. Like, we're working with charities. One of the charities we've been working with directly is the Teapot Project, who've saved thousands of kilos of food throughout lockdown, and have actually put that onto plates or put it in boxes and crates and given it out to vulnerable families across the community. So yeah, they've been an absolute powerhouse, and I'm very, very lucky to be involved in that, because it's kept me going. Like, I've had a pretty rough time throughout lockdown, but yeah, that is one of the things that has kept me strong, is being able to see that autonomous kindness in our whole community. Thousands of people who had no idea before, like, how close we are and how resilient we are as a community of people. Like, it's been beautiful to watch.
No, that's brilliant. It's nice to hear nice things on this page sometimes, because obviously the stuff we talk about, it can be sometimes quite negative, and we try and help resolve it. But it's nice to hear that. So well done for you for keep pushing it as well. So well done to you. So let's do the final guy, which is Neil. I've known Neil for a number of years now, isn't it?
It is quite a few years, yeah.
And you've your main bread and butter is your IT, and you do carpets as well, don't you? Somewhere along the line.
Yeah, just IT now.
Right. Okay. And then you decided to set up a food bank, which.
Did you just hear that? Wait there 1 minute. My washing machine's just blown up. Well, hold on.
We've never ever had this happen before on the.
I can't wish he'd taken the camera with him, actually.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. See the carnage that ensues.
I keep watching your screen, waiting for a kid to throw a ball at you or something.
Oh my God!
He's been occupied at the moment. He's all right.
Right. Okay. No, job done. But anyway,
Sorry, I'm back.
No. Yeah. So you decided, as well as your big busy schedule, that you're going to start a food bank.
Yeah.
Why? Why have you bothered as a man? Because people keep saying that other people don't care about people, and I don't think that's necessarily true. So
no, I don't think it's true. I think the vast majority of people do, but I think a lot of men, and certainly a lot of my friends, struggle to see the reasoning behind it. Certainly for me, I thrive on being busy. So if I have a lot of time on my hands, it's not particularly good for me. So I like to fill that time with work or the food bank or other projects maybe that I'm involved with. And the food bank is a brilliant thing. I think like Daniel was saying about the food and the waste of food, that it just needs to go to people who need it. And even if I think for me, even if we take out the need of it, it shows that there's too much product and not enough use of it, and there's so much waste in the world. And I'm really into trying to use everything to its sort of maximum, really. And it's also it also gives me a great sort of purpose outside of the IT world. So I always wanted to do something where you actually sort of feel fulfilled by something you did.
Yeah.
And obviously work brings me that, but it doesn't bring me that fulfillment of doing other things. And especially when it comes to trying to help people, however that may be. And I think for me, a lot of that happened. I had a TIA about 5 years ago, and that sort of really threw me, really.
Sorry, what's a TI? What was that? What is that?
I reckon the gentleman there, James, will be able to tell you what it is.
TIA is just another name for a mini stroke, basically. It's a stroke where the symptoms don't last too long. There's no long-lasting effects, but it still is very real at the time, certainly. Yeah, mini stroke. Yeah,
it's really weird, and that I had quite a few weeks off work, really, and it really made me know how vulnerable the human body is, no matter how strong and fit you feel you are. And I think that really changed things in terms of it made me also realise that actually everyone has a story, and we don't know them stories. Whereas before I'd probably be quite judgmental, to be honest. Whereas now I'm not. I'm very much so. There must be a reason why certain people are in certain positions. And sort of 2.5 years of counselling. It's really helped and brought me through it. And I think that's why I've ended up doing what I'm doing, really. Yeah. Even though there's not a lot of time, you just sort of find the time, don't you, if you really want to do something.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer. Just the smallest lifeline can change people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And some of the people who've been helping of late, and I've gone to drop off and that, and standing at their door back, and they literally they've just got nothing. So to try and help them, and the great thing is with what as you know Daniel, what we're doing is that it's a whole community effort. So it's none of this can work without the whole of the community coming together, which is what I always sort of envisaged, really, that everyone's sort of pulled together, and Hadleigh's done really well with it, and it's brilliant.
Neil, just on that, I think during this pandemic, I think a lot of, or even let's say previously, in terms of food banks, I think people have a certain image of what sort of folks go to a food bank. And I think what this pandemic has shown is it doesn't matter what job you're in, what status you have, anything like that. Sometimes you do need the support of the community to get food on the table. And I can imagine there must be some challenging conversations of folks who do rock up. How do you prepare yourself for some of those conversations? And how do you sort of prepare yourself for those?
I'm not sure I do, really. I think it's just one of them things where sometimes you would consider that the person I'm seeing is going to be quite level-headed on something, but actually they're really different. So it's just taking sort of each person, each situation as it comes. Certainly, what I have found is that a lot of the people are afraid to ask for help, and they tend to do it through someone else, which of course is not a problem, but sometimes that means you can't quite get to the nub of it, really. But yeah, there's been a few situations where I've just thought, and I saw myself in that situation so quickly, like the people in the pandemic, maybe people who were self-employed, they haven't got a trading record, they've got a big mortgage, they've got a family to feed, and suddenly they have no money, they have no income, and from an outside perspective, you could look at their house and think they don't need help, but actually they do.
Yeah, well, it comes back to your point. Everyone's got a story, and you can't just paint everyone with that sort of same brush. Oh, they'll be all right. That's a really interesting insight. Thank you.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, got anything else to say? We seem to be flying through this video, actually, which is a bit bizarre. We're normally killing it off. But you got anything? Yeah. So, how are you? Might as well jump into it. How are you then, Jordan?
I've not had a great week. I've had just a lack of to be honest, lack of motivation to sort of do stuff, to be honest. I don't know, which I thought I was excited when the snow came earlier in the week. But after that, it's cold out, and I'm just getting a bit frustrated. But I think for me, I almost feel a bit guilty for feeling shit, because I'm in a far better situation than a lot of folks out there. And, that you do then feel a little bit guilty. You think I should, I've got a job and I've got a house and I can eat and all of those sorts of things. I've got security. So you do feel a bit guilty for that when you do feel a bit shit, which I think then sort of makes it even worse, because you think, well, actually I can have an off day. So yeah, a bit of a lack of motivation this week. I pretty much wrote off the week on like Monday afternoon. So I'm thinking, right, well, I've taken tomorrow afternoon off and sort of a long weekend, and then reset ready for Monday. And I think you just got to give yourself that time. So yeah, that's how my week's sort of been. But how about you, Dan? How have you been going on?
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm not.
You still got to deal with people. You still got to deal with.
Yeah, no, I'm right. It's been quite a good week. There's been a few life dramas and all this kind of stuff, but it's just I honestly can't complain with anything at the moment. Really, I'm just way too busy. So ask me again in a month when everything just calms down and I'll crash. But I think I said this last week. I think I just want to go on a holiday, just like everyone else, just to turn off and unwind. And I would even consider J-work.
Steady.
I think it's the freedom, isn't it? I think I was speaking to a mate about this earlier. It's getting in the car And it doesn't matter what the destination is, just knowing you can get out at the end and you don't have to think, shit, I've not got my mask and I've not got my reusable bag for Tesco. For my essential shop, it's thinking, well, I can go anywhere. Even if you do got to still wear a mask, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like you're stripped of just sort of some of the basics. I think that's what gets the folks, isn't it?
I think it was early on because I saw a press release about Matt Hancock, Matt Hancock's on about, what was it? The press is saying how he's now booked a holiday. He's booked a summer holiday.
What do you know that we all don't?
I know he's booked a summer holiday, but we can't tell the rest of you when you can book a summer holiday. And I'm just like,
you're getting first dibs on the nice places.
Again?
I think you're getting the first dibs on the nice places. You know, that super deluxe room you want, that's sold out now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, because old Matt's in it. But obviously, I don't want to get all political, but it just kind of deflated. It just deflated me a little bit. I'm just like, no, because I'm just gagging. I hate feeling trapped, and that's how I feel at the moment. It's just trapped, really. So happy days. So is anyone else? We're nearly done actually. But has anyone else got anything to say very quickly?
All right. Yeah. I just want to say everything really. I said previously, like, I think is so important to continue reaching out. And yeah, as previously mentioned throughout the video, is that judgment we have initially of like, that person looks okay, they don't need help. Like this situation, we can't do that in. It's very much just taking the initiative and actually making the first step to communicate with someone who doesn't necessarily get or understand that support is there for them because they're so used to staying busy, or like previously mentioned, they've had that job, they've had that security, they've had that house, but due to the situation, things have changed drastically. So yeah, it's all about taking that initiative and putting your hand out first and helping when you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Absolutely. No, so thank you very much, guys. So I think we're pretty much done. So I appreciate you taking the time, and thanks for joining in at the last minute, James. So,
no worries, man. No worries.
Now you're gonna have to give your kids loads of sweets for being quiet for the last 20 minutes.
Oh, no sugar before bedtime. If
I shout sweeties, will they all go mental?
Not with the headphones in, though. It'll only be me that gets excited.
Okay. Anyway, thanks to each and every one of you. We're going to carry on doing these weekly videos at 5:30 every single Thursday. If you want to join in, then just shoot us a message and we can try and book it all in. So thank you to each and every one of you.